Yeah, we should do that. 3, 2, 1.
We're CHILIO!
We are CHILIO.
Hello, my name is Blaine. I'm the drummer in the band CHILIO.
My name's Chris. I do vocals in CHILIO.
I'm John. I'm lead guitar in CHILIO.
So CHILIO started in 2016 in this small town called Grand Prairie, 4 hours west of Edmonton. It's mostly country music and metal, and me, I just loved music. It was there for me when I was a little kid, and my parents were fighting and threatening divorce, and it helped me escape. And I just loved music so much. It was my escape, so I'd listen to video games, I would escape to my buddy's house, and we'd just play Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk and WWE games and whatnot, and it just made me want to be in a band so bad because I love the music. My friend had a guitar, and I would play it while he was hogging the controller, and I would just play like Smoke on the Water on one string, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. Maybe I could be good at this. So I kept doing that, and eventually Grand Prairie got really old. It was so hard to find like-minded people who like the same kind of music. So I moved to Calgary in 2019, and it's kind of crazy. Not gonna lie, it almost feels like fate because I had just moved there, and then John had moved there from Mexico. Our other guitar player, Ricardo, moved from Brazil. Our bass player, James, just moved there from BC. Blaine had just left a band that had just disbanded, and we all found each other online. We actually found Blaine through TikTok, which is like the most 2024 thing ever.
We actually auditioned Blaine through TikTok.
Oh, dude.
TikTok, wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Rick hit me up on Instagram and he was like, are you interested in maybe playing in our band? I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm too good for you guys. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But then I started listening to their albums and all that, and I got really connected to their music, and I'm like, oh, I gotta be the drummer of this band. So I started playing their album from start to finish on TikTok, live streaming it. And I kept telling the guys, hey, if you want, you can join in. And that was kind of my audition tape, and they liked what I did. So then I joined last, I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully the last member to join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that John also has a pretty interesting story.
Oh,
Yeah.
So-
Go ahead.
First of all, I was never confirmed. Well, now I am,
Yeah.
and we were at a certain point, but in the beginning we never got confirmation of that we were in the band. So I got a message from our ex-drummer saying we're looking for a lead guitar player. I said yes. Come to the audition. Chris got a party that day, so I was like, no, I think we can move the audition for a different day. And no, come on, let's do the audition. Okay, if you wanna stay and party with us, well, you're more than welcome. We played one song that is for the first record, and I had a lot of fun. But yeah, like Chris was right on that. Like you also need to hang out with your team members because you never know, right? It could be like everyone could play well, but you never really know if you're gonna have you could be in a good relationship, right?
My side of the story is that I actually didn't want John to come over for the party. I didn't tell him about the party. And then my girlfriend was downstairs after he auditioned. She's like, hey, we're having a party tonight. You want to come? And he's like, hell yeah, let's do it. And I was like, oh no, I just met this guy. I don't know if he's psycho or what's the deal. And then he ended up being the life of the party. He was teaching everyone how to do tequila shots and drink beers upside down. And I was like, well,
you're inviting a
now
Mexican to party, like.
Oh, we have to invite
Like-
you guys.
Yeah, no, it was a really good night, and then a couple of days after, it's like just come to the next one, and then was Rick there, and we become friends, and until today.
I never actually told them they were in the band. Like months would go on and they still didn't know, and then one day I like posted it before I even told them.
Yeah.
So
We were like, oh, thank you, we are in.
This is literally the first time I've ever heard this story. Like, I'm not even
Wow.
joking. So this is great. Welcome, John. Welcome to the band.
Musicians, artists that inspired inspired you that are, you know, BIPOC? Yeah.
So this was actually like something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and it was actually kind of hard because when I got into music as a kid, like obviously skin didn't matter, skin color didn't matter. It was as negligible as like someone's tongue length, right? Like who cares how long your tongue is? The bands I fell into as a kid were like Blink 182, My Chemical Romance, Sum 41, Linkin Park. As a teenager, it was like August Burns Red, A Day to Remember, Straight from the Path. Now it's like Tame Impala, Turnstile. As for people of color, I would say like Jimi Hendrix, just so ahead of his time, was so good. And he came up in a time that, like, I can't believe he came up when he did come up and to fight what he had to fight through. There's in our genre, there's not a lot of bands like with like colored people of color. There's one band that I really like. They're called Action Adventure, and they're all BIPOC, and they make amazing music. And they're checking off boxes that we want to check off one day in the future. And it's really cool to see a band do that and know that, like, okay, like it can be done. There is like a path for sure. What about you guys?
You already named a lot. Well, as Mexican, obviously we can say Carlos Santana, right? Not my main one. Same thing, Hendrix. I grew up with classic rock and roll, Sabbath, Zeppelin. But yeah, we can talk about jazz. We can talk about a lot of musicians. Hard because yeah, Chris was right there. It's not about color or accents or it's just music love and rock and roll. I said that a lot. I said a lot of rock and roll. It's just about rock and roll. You feel it, you play it, and you play it. Works, go for it, right? What about you, Blaine?
Yeah, like I'd say in terms of like me growing up, like bands that influenced my drumming, like from Avenged Sevenfold to Slipknot, you know, 9 masked people jumping on stage, you know, all that. But yeah, like these guys were saying, yeah, like in our genre, and especially like my influence growing up, like there really wasn't like a lot of, you know, skin color and stuff like that, right? But I'd say for me, like as of even recently, in terms of like influence, you know, you got like Jonathan Moffat, you know, Michael Jackson's drummer, who's doing incredible things on social media. You have El Estapario Siberiano, and guys from Spain, you know, an incredible musician, just showing people like you don't need to stay within the box of what a drummer can do. You know, you can explore outside of all that and just make incredible music and what you're feeling. But yeah, like in terms of like the genre and music, like, you know, what brings us all together is, you know, that like-minded sound and what we all love, right? So, you know, I don't know, like something like that.
Yeah. I think like the music scene's definitely passionate and diverse, but it could always be a little bit more. And there are days where you're like confident as hell and you're like, hell yeah, like we're gonna do this, you know? Mm-hmm. And then there are other days where you're kind of like depressed and sad, and maybe things are slow, maybe things aren't going that well. And then it kind of becomes like this added like mental layer where you're like, you know, like all my heroes, like nobody had the same like background or like look, you know, and it just becomes like a self-deprecating thought.
Yes.
Yeah. Where like nobody's telling you that you can't do that thing, but in your own mind you're kind of battling with like, well, can I belong? Will I ever belong in this? Like, because nobody else is doing it, you know?
Yes.
And like maybe it's not in your ethnic background to maybe the people around you aren't into it. So that can feel really like isolating. So that's why I think representation's like super important. Like it doesn't matter what your skin color is, but it would be really nice to see that more. Mm-hmm. And like for us, like music is first. It's the most important thing. But if we can like play on that stage, and if there's like one person in the crowd that's like, hey, like those guys, like, he kind of looks like me. He kind of has a similar background. He's a round nose like I do, you know?
Yes.
It's motivating. It's cool. It's like, there is a place. Like, I do belong here, even if maybe not the whole crowd looks like me or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the alternative or pop punk music in Alberta, like, do you think it's wide or is it less at the moment or even before?
One of the most important things is that, yeah, we're a few, but we really support each other. Like, if we have the opportunity to be with us, like doing the tour or like opening shows, hey, there's this opportunity, call this person, things like that. That's what it really got value for us, right?
Yeah.
Because if we do not support each other, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's very supportive. People are very like tight knit, but they help each other out. There's definitely room for growth, but it's diverse. We play with a lot of cool bands and a lot of cool people. The people that come out to the shows are diverse and really great, and it's so nice to see that. It's definitely vibrant for sure. And I was like, I went my whole high school, like I was the only like Filipino kid.
Exactly.
And it was all like county kids, so everybody lived on a farm. We're all farmer, like redneck kids, for lack of a better term. And like I was the only Filipino kid who like loved Dragon Ball and loved punk rock. So I definitely felt that going to shows, and it's just like a mental thing for the most part. Like nobody's actually gonna be like, what are you doing here? Like maybe they will, but like
they won't really say out loud.
yeah, exactly. And it's more power for yourself if you show up. But yeah, I can definitely relate to that. It's it definitely was an insecurity for sure that I had.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Your hair looks so good.
Was my hair look good?
Yeah.
Oh man, I felt like it was like very messy.
No, you got some good flow.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, in terms of our shows and everything, like, yeah, it's definitely a community that we have in our scene. I feel like especially like, growing up in Canada, like I'm born and raised Calgarian, we live in such a diverse nation, and, especially for like the scene, for me growing up, especially like even what got me into this kind of music to begin with was because I felt insecure growing up, as, a kid going through, like high school and like not relating to anybody. But even though like, I don't know, like for me, I just find like our scene is it's so inclusive. It brings so many people together. It doesn't matter like what your background is or your skin color, no matter what, like we all come together to share that sense of belonging to the music that we listen to. We all look through what our differences are just so we can like mosh and have fun and have a good time, right? Like I don't think ever growing up like that was ever something that's crossed my mind. Being in the scene, I just think, Chris, you love punk rock, John, you love punk rock, and I want to make music with that. And, these guys come from different backgrounds, and I think that's what really helps, CHILIO especially, just even in our songwriting and everything like that. We all have different backgrounds, and it makes our music even better too.
100%. So our name is actually short for Chiliocosm, which means a universe of 1,000 smaller universes. So like that diversity, that like coming together and weaving of like different influences and whatnot together is like kind of the message we hope we can bring, and kind of what we're doing as far as influences and whatnot. And it's crazy because that was never like the main intent. The intent was just to play music and have fun. But it's kind of cool that it has kind of turned into that organically.
How does it feel to be included in the act and being, nationally recognized now? Like,
That's a good one. How you feel, Chris?
would you have thought this when you guys were, starting, or?
Oh man.
Hold on,
He's thought about this.
Oh, my brain just like feels great.
It's cool. Man.
it's an amazing feeling because the local scene is so passionate, and to see it get the recognition that it deserves is so gratifying. And you know, being part of that wave and playing so many amazing shows with so many amazing bands, it's surreal, you know. Again, this was just an idea, and now the crowds are getting bigger, and people are singing along to the lyrics. They're crowd surfing. They're waving their phones in the air. They're jumping around in the mosh pit. It's really cool, and you know. It feels like we're part of this like big, loud, like punk rock family.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is we're doing it in our hometown.
Yes.
We get to connect with fans and people who understand the unique struggles of being in this province and in this city. And they know the struggles and the victories, and they can relate to the water crisis and the fentanyl problems and
Yep.
and the stampede, you know. So it's a wild ride, and we're just getting started. What feels like a year, but we just announced it like 2 days ago.
Yes.
But we're really excited because we spent like 3 weeks, 8 hours a day on a light show because we think lights are cool.
Brutal. Brutal.
Investing gear, getting ready.
Honestly, we keep playing this venue in Calgary, and the lights are kind of lame. So that was kind of the inspiration to it, not to like throw anybody under the bus. But yeah, it's just gonna be a wild time. We just want to give people an outlet to escape, and you can leave all the bullshit and everyone can leave their egos at the door, and we just come to this show, and as long as you get off your feet, it's gonna be a great time. Yeah.
How about
And
you
I can
guys?
teach you about drinking beers.
Yeah, John.
Yes.
John will party with you.
No, just come to the show, have fun. We really, we put a lot of effort in it, but we also go and have fun. That's the main thing. On stage, it's our party, and we love to party with everybody.
Yeah. I think it's like our most complex show yet. I'm super proud of like the hours we've put into this show. In mapping it, in making sure, you know, there's moments for everything, whether that's for the audience or, you know, showcasing what our abilities are on stage. Like, I feel like this is the most in-depth we have gotten, and I think that really goes to show just like where we started between the five of us to where we are now. It really shows like our growth, and I'm so proud and excited to play drums in front of all those people. So yeah, please feel free, come out to the show, support. There's gonna be a lot of other punk bands joining us as well. We got Costin Music from Kelowna. They're joining us for this tour. Amazing band, very Paramore vibes. So if you like Paramore, please feel free. they're awesome. And especially in Calgary, we got our boys Howls joining us as well on that stage. Who's the other band?
Year after year.
Year over year.
Year over year. Yeah.
Sorry.
So super stoked. Yeah, feel free to come out to the Calgary show or wherever you are at for those dates, and we look forward to playing for you.